Righty, so welcome back guys to another video, 142. It's not quite the new year yet, but almost. Tomorrow. I wasn't going to start a video today, but I thought I might just do a little bit. I'm almost finished with these fenders. Got a little bit more sanding to do on here in a couple of spots where there's just some slightly rough texture I want to get rid of. But just got something to help here to put parts on, painted parts anyway. So I found some old carpet that had just been pulled out of the house. I thought it's perfect to lay down on the ground here instead of trying to sit stuff on concrete or on tables or trying to leave it on panel stands. It just happened to be that the owner of the vehicle, his son, had pulled a whole heap of carpet out of a house to obviously do some renovations. So I grabbed the piece before they got rid of it. So I just laid it down here, perfect for sitting some parts on. At least then if I sit it down, it's not on hard concrete, it shouldn't chip, all those sorts of things. So I can just lay all my painted stuff, or stuff that's ready to go, down here. Like ideally I would like it in a different place, but this is the sort of the only place I've sort of got available at the moment. Eventually I wouldn't mind having over behind the bench once we get a bit of a clean up, and eventually get some other stuff sorted out. I'll shift it over there so it's not so much in a walking thoroughfare or whatever, but here is handy at the moment. It's a decent space. I can set all these parts down and I haven't got the fear of scratching and damaging, and then it's not also taking up space on panel stands and tables and whatever. So that's why I've sort of set these down here out of the road. At least I can have my panel stands back in the sawhorses and stuff like that. So I thought I'd just start a new video and show you this. So yeah, if you've got an area that you can put some old carpet down or something like that, especially if you've got a mezzanine, like if you had a mezzanine that you can easily get stuff up into, that's a perfect place, or somewhere in behind, hidden out of the road, that you can lay some parts down on and throw some carpet down, and at least you can spread stuff out. There's always a better place, but this is a good start. And it's not hard on concrete. Stuff's not going to chip if you sit it down on this if it's painted. It's fine. As long as it's not green, obviously. You wouldn't stick it down here, an hour after it's been painted. But the next day, after it's had a bit of time to cure, sit down on the carpet and it should be fine. Lay it down, sit it down, whatever. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. So yeah, I've got a little bit more sanding to do on here. I'm going to try and get a bit more of this clean up. A lot of this isn't seen, but I'm just not sure exactly where it cuts off and on. So I want to sand a bit more of this out. Get a few bit more bits around the edges. I want to sand a wee bit harder into these edges, but I've got most of it. And then I'll start working on something else, because I'm kind of over sanding these pieces at the moment. I need to do something different, otherwise I'm going to drive myself mad. Actually, got a couple of little marks here I need to go a bit deeper too. Actually, it's quite a nasty little one, so is that one. But yeah, I need to sand these a bit more, obviously, and get them down a bit further. We'll catch you later on, and we'll see you next year probably, unless I come up with anything else to show you something about. Righty guys, so it's still Friday, still 31st. So I started sanding that earlier on. Basically finished the other 4 bits over there on the carpet. So I blocked that out. I put some glaze and putty in some of the marks. I mixed up a little bit much, so I went around and some of the other marks I thought would sand out. I just filled them as well, because there's no point wasting it. I had a little bit, mixed a little bit much. Like I didn't mix much, but it spreads a long way when it's only going in little holes. So I'll knock that all off now. That's well and truly set, and that'll be ready for a lot of high building, and I'll block that on out. Right, so that's ready for the next high build. I've knocked all the worst of the glazing putty off. So we'll give that a blow down and wipe down, whatever, when ready to do the other one as well. And we'll blow a couple of 3 or 4 coats on there and block her out again and see where it sits then. And hopefully be ready for high build, you know, with just a couple of quick just a quick light coats over it and a light scuff back, and it should be ready for paint. But yeah, we'll do the next one. Right, let's sand this one back so we can make it look pretty. Alrighty, so I'm not sure where I've got to before, but I've got both of those blocked back. I haven't put any glazing putty in the other one. Wasn't really that bad. I think I get a lot of it with high build. But anyway, been blocking this back. I just noticed this was a bit high, so I've just knocked it down, hopefully with the hammer. Just worked that. There's a high spot in the middle there. So I'm going to go back over it with this again, with 80 grit on it. It's not really what I wanted to do, but I just didn't realise it was actually quite so lumpy. And it's probably mainly because, you know, I had to cut this up to make it fit way better than it ever did before. If you go way back through the videos, like I've said in some of the last ones, this here was touching the spring on the side. It was actually way out here, like it was pointing out here. It was also back, I think. And even this was wonky. I've had to trim it down through here. I think I had to bug around with quite a lot of it to make it fit properly. But it was actually in a high spot in here. So I might have to put a little bit more filler in here through here, but I'm just going to give it another rub back. Now with this drill block with a bit of that 80 grit off that crappy stuff on it, it's just handy because it will conform to that shape and I can make it knock all the tops off, you know what I mean. I've done that a bit here too because it wasn't very even. I might sand it a bit more just if I can get it to round off a little bit more, obviously, because there's nothing worse than getting the panel and it looks, hold on, try and zoom out a little bit. Well, we'll try that again. So yeah, nothing worse than a panel when it goes like that and then like that and then like that. That's what it sort of felt like. So like you can imagine if you painted that gloss black and all of a sudden it's got these funny, instead of being a nice smooth transition. So this might be another one of these ones I might have to paint black and have a really good look at it before I bolt it on the car. It's kind of going to be hidden but not hidden. Like part of it's the grill shell sits over top. You know, there's bits and pieces like that. There's going to be the bumper in front of it, and the headlights all sit over top of it, between the fenders. So like, there's not a lot. It's sort of like it's there, but it's not hugely visible. But it is, if you know what I mean. So you're going to see parts of it. So it still needs to be right, you know. Some things you'll get away with, and some things you won't, you know. So I need to do a little bit more work on here. I might even have to do another, just even skim coat with the glazing putty. Maybe next week when I come back. I'll sand it a bit more and just see if I can get it to feel nicer. But you know, sometimes you have to revisit things. You know, I did the body work the other day and sort of just knocked it all out and sanded it all off. But I thought it looked reasonable and primed it. But now that I'm going around with the block and trying to smooth it all out and get the worst of the marks out, I could feel that it wasn't right, and both sides weren't terribly great. This side was a little bit better than that because it had that funny high spot. But yeah, I'll just have to keep working at it and dial it in. Sometimes that's what you have to do. Like, you know, that's what I had to do with those front fenders. They were real pigs of things for a while, and they frustrated the shit out of me. But now they look good, so you know, a little bit extra time. Sometimes you have to take a step back to come right again. You know, it is what it is. But, you know, like, it's not as though I'm the painted, you know. You can always go a step back if you're not happy with something. You're better off to go back a step, reapply, do a little bit of alteration, modification, like I had to do that with one of those rear fenders too. I had to do a whole heap of shrinking up because once I started blocking it out, I could see that something was wrong, that I'd missed. So but it's whether you pick it up and you fix it is the big thing, So it's like, as I said, a beaten up car. This was handmade, it wasn't right. I've fixed it, made it better, and it's just a matter of dialing it in. Anyway, I'll carry on, and I'm not quite sure if I'll come back again or not, but hopefully I'll be heading home shortly. Righty, final roundup for the day. So I've sanded all that crap, sanded the sides of the hood, and I've started back on the body. I've sort of done little bits, mainly around the back. So that's what I've been doing in just the last hour or so. Just sanding around the back of here, just knocking it down, and we'll get it better. Down it down a bit further. It's a bit patchy at the moment, but we'll get it blocked down next year, because I'm running out of time for this year. It's only a couple of hours left. Alright guys, I'll catch you later on. Morning guys, welcome back to NZ Mopar Outlaw Kustoms. So, happy New Year's 2022. We are, what are we, 3rd? I think it is. Man, yesterday was friggin' hot here. Not something we were used to. Now we've been in the mid-20s C, which I don't know, like pushing towards 80, I guess, in that 70 to 80 range Fahrenheit, and it's normally quite pleasant. But yesterday we got into just the early 90s, and holy balls, we haven't had that kind of heat here for a while. It was like 32, heading towards 33 C here, which is getting fairly hot when you're not used to it. We were just melting at home. We were all just drinking a lot of water and just sweating. But anyway, plan for today, hopefully, is to finish the blocking back the body. I'll revisit that rear balance that goes in between the rear fenders over the fuel tank. I just want to double check that because I want to get some primer and some stuff today. Hopefully the final coat of, I wouldn't say the final coat of eyeball, the final touch-ups on those fenders. I've got to do a couple of them on the edge. There's a couple of little spots I'm just not really happy with. It needs a little bit more product, and then a quick block out, or maybe a quick wet sand, and they will be ready for black. I need to redo the balances, so all those balances, like obviously the sides, front and the rear one. The wheel arches on this, if I can get the body blocked back far enough and see how I feel with everything, it might, again, we might need glazing putty. I haven't done a second full block out in the main part of the body, or the front part of the body, and the doors forward. The back part of it's looking really good. It may need some touch-ups, but it's pretty close. It's obviously almost like a step ahead, but there was quite a bit of fluff around the back, that bottom part. So we'll double check that. So I want to try and get that finished block back. It's been about an hour or so on that on Friday before New Year's Eve, or on New Year's Eve. So I need to get that block back. So yeah, that's kind of the plan for today. Get that block back, and obviously start getting some primer and some bits and pieces. I think most things are ready for another coat or a final coat or a touch-up or whatever, you know what I mean? Lots of little bits and pieces going on in different stages. So yeah, trying to think anything else I want to say at the moment. No, I think that'll do. So yeah, if you got this far through this video, because this is an intermittent in the video, so I did a little bit on Friday. So yeah, if you got through this far, please like and share, and if you haven't subscribed please. That'd be much appreciated. We are crawling towards that 1,000, that magic first step, you know, to be obviously just make a little bit of revenue off YouTube. That's a big, I don't think a lot of people realise, the guys like us that are trying to, obviously this is my starting business, you know, and any extra income I can get off something makes a huge difference, you know, and as that builds will be a huge, huge help. I can't emphasise this enough. If you're here watching and you're getting through the videos, even if you're doing it in a couple of chunks, I can understand a lot of my videos are long. I'm going to try and make some shorter, you know, when I'm saying shorter, I mean sort of around that sort of 10 to 20 minute mark, tips and tricks and whatever, sanding, different stages of doing different things, body work and whatever. I'm going to try and do a bit more of that and keep it away from just the general hour or sort of, I don't like doing over an hour, but sometimes it just, how it sort of, by the time I squeeze 4 hours into a video, sometimes it ends up over an hour because there's just sections I want to leave in there. But I'm going to try and make just some shorter how-to tip videos, you know, different stages of sanding and obviously body work and whatever. You know, I'm past sort of the body work on this, but there is some other little bits and pieces to do, and then obviously there's other vehicles coming within the next weeks, if maybe a month or two. I've got to get a hold of some people. Once I get some paint on this and it's going back together, I want to get another vehicle in here and start breaking it down and working out what I need to do on that, you know. Once this is starting to get together, I'm not going to have so much crap spread out everywhere. You know, once we get the motor in it and all these panels on it, you know, and then start finishing a lot of the smaller bits and pieces which I've sort of repaired or done or have yet to do, like some of the small stuff that's hasn't been quite so important at this stage, you know. Then yeah, we can start getting another vehicle in here and working out what it needs done and pulling it down and stripping it apart and whatever. So, but anyway, I'll get on with sanding and I'll bring you back as I'm doing little bits and pieces, and then you'll hopefully this afternoon we'll get some primer on some parts. Righty, oh, it's about 3 o'clock. And to be honest, I haven't got really a lot further than what I had this morning. I started sanding whatever and doing some of the bits and pieces. I forgot I had that in the boot, or the trunk area in the station wagon. I had to glue that up for missus for the young fellas' drawers, dresser, what do you want to call it. And then I thought, okay, yeah, I kept blocking this back, and I got it back quite a bit further on this side. And then I thought, shit, if I'm going to put another coat of primer on this, I really need to. This is the only door that I hadn't really got the gap right on it. I need to move it back a little bit. So I've been screwing around with this for the last friggin', I don't know, at least an hour and a half. Shuffling shit around, trying to see if I can get it to work. I think I'm going to have to make up some more shims. I think it's one of these stupid things. I sort of did all the rest and then thought, oh, I'll get back to this one. And typical, yeah, it takes you like weeks to get back to it. Because what happens, I'll turn the camera on. Right, what happens is here you can see it's hit. And I've already shimmed it out. It's not as bad as what it was, but the gap here is quite big, and I would like to close this up a little bit, and I'd just like to move this back a little bit. It's obviously when they put the skin on it, they haven't got it quite straight, so it sticks out more in the centre than it does on the top and the bottom of it. It's not straight. I could probably grind a little bit off, which I may end up having to do. Because So I made another shim from behind the hinges for one to the top and the bottom. I thought that might be enough, but I think what's happening is this one here is screwing up hard against this outside and not sitting on the steel plate in here, if you know what I mean. So putting one in there wasn't enough. So I've dropped the one that I made for there down in the bottom here, and now I might make two for here and see if it moves it back. And if that doesn't work, then I will so be careful, make sure that shuts properly. Just see if I can get another millimetre of clearance, which is basically the thickness of the panel steel sort of type thing. Whatever that is, 16th. I don't know. It's fun always trying to convert stuff from millimetres to inches, especially when it comes from when you got your fractions, and then you also get your decimal for inches. Inches is good if you're using it for spanners and stuff, but when you've got to go from the decimal in inches to fractions in an inch, it's freaking confusing. Like millimetres a millimetre, Doesn't matter whether it's a spanner or a thickness or what it is, I know quarter of an inch is quarter of an inch, but we don't go like, you can't say quarter of a millimetre, but we don't use that term. It's like it's either 1 mil or 2 mil or 3 mil or 1.5 or whatever. Like it's a sort of a set thing. You don't jump between fractions and decimal. So you're using decimal and millimetres as well, but you're not jumping from fractions of a millimetre in that sense, if you know what I mean. So it's a little bit less confusing, I think. But anyway, here I just want to move this back. Try and move this back. I think I've got this moved back, and it actually had what screws in it. This was one of the few doors that actually had Phillips head in it, and they should be all flathead really. Just making sure these are all tight. Yeah, basically. I've only got 3 in there at the moment. I'll crank it a little bit more. But yeah, I think this one's definitely sitting out now, whereas it's used to sit flat. So I'll make 2 of these frickin' spaces for the top one now, because I think if I had some 2 mil thick panel steel, which is I think, what do I work out that is, 16th, that's 16 gauge, I think, 2 mil. I've got a chart somewhere. I actually should print it out and put it on the frickin' wall, be handy, because then it would make it easier for me to convert shit. Just so all my buddies in America land understand what I'm talking about. As Dave from Scott Rod says, I talk funny. But he's in the same frickin' boat, because he's used to working in frickin' millimetres as well. Well, I suppose they are millimetres and inches in the UK. They're a bit like us, sort of know both. If you're of our sort of age, when I'm saying our sort of age, like I would imagine like sort of 40 plus, I reckon probably anybody a wee bit younger than that's probably not quite so used to it, but here anyway. But like somebody that's probably 40 or 50 years of age, has got a reasonable knowledge of both here, but especially somebody that's in the car world. But I think some of the younger fellows would struggle. But yeah, I'll make up another couple of shims and see if I can get this frickin' door to fit. And then I shouldn't have to screw around with it anymore, because it closes bloody nice. I just need it to move back, so we're not freaking catching this. And I might even just run up there with a grinder, and notice we blow another coat on there. It'll help. Yeah, I might just pull it right off, I think, and just have a wee screw around with it. It wasn't what I wanted today. I wanted to get some primer on, but then I sort of remembered that this didn't have a freaking. I didn't have it quite set up 100% for that gap. It's always one of those things that annoyed me. So yeah, I'll deal with this. And again, thanks for all the new subs in the last few days too. It's been really cool. There's a few shout outs and just being on a few lives and calling a few, not so much me actually directly on the live, but commenting in the comments, and obviously getting a few mentions from the guys that are talking. It's helped a bit. I've gained I don't know, about 14 or 15 subs in the last 2 or 3 days. Yeah, I must stink. So it's been good. It's nice to move, sort of not be so stuck. It's weird. I get stuck in like little ruts with numbers. Like I'll move it forward a few and then I'll get stuck there, and then I'll move it forward a few and I'll get stuck there. It's weird. I don't know, it's not consistent. But yeah, we're slowly creeping towards that 900, which is really good. I think I need 23 more. So yeah, my 877, like I was only, was like 860 something the other day. So I've gained a few, which has been really good. Nice to see, guys. Thanks. Really appreciate it. And girls, if there's girls out there watching. I hope so. I don't want to be all completely guys watching. I know there's a lot of women that do. I'm pretty sure there's a few that watch. Like just mainly people's partners, you know, from even just in the community. I'm pretty sure they would watch. Well, I hope they watch. Watch this crazy Kiwi guy talk like a, I don't know, or a crazy Scotsman. Well, all sorts of crazy things. No, I can talk like lots of things. Watched too much TV when I was younger, still do watch too much TV. Anyway, thanks for the subs. Cheers. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to run the body file along it. This is my, this is a homemade handle, but it's proper metal body file. So I have to take those hinges off out of the road. But you can see, if I hold that flat along here, you can see how much of a gap there is. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, you can, I think. Yeah. So there's a good couple of mil there anyway. And it's a bit the same at the other end. So I think that's part of the problem. So what I might do is whip these hinges right off. Which is something I didn't really want to do, but I think they're going to be in a row. And I'm just going to file this edge a little bit, take a little bit of material off there. And just see if I can get this to fit a wee bit better, and I'm not going to go crazy because obviously the skin is only so thick, but I can see that they've had a really fine edge on here too, and they've been beating it over, so it probably doesn't help the thing. I might get a bit of that too, so I don't want to start screwing around too much this time. I'm giving myself a little guide. There's a thought. At least I can see what I'm taking off. Get a visual representation, a visual. Gotta be careful we don't make this too thin and cut it through. But so there's places we're not even actually hitting here. improve it much or not, that might help. A bit more. Off that door again. Now that's help must, but can't hurt. Right, I'll go screw around with the other little spaces in the other parts of the hinges I need. Put these back on. And shit. I'm going to check the footage. Right, yeah, this is the one that had the glue on, was at the top, or bottom, whatever you want to call it, at this end. I just picked the glue out. So I'll get these other pieces made and just see if that fixes it with that little bit of a shave off there. Well shit, I think we might have one. I'll just grab the tripod, stick the phone on it, and we'll open and close the door a few times. See if it works. See if we got some clearance. Right, let's see if this works any better. Well, generally I think the gap looks better. I've opened up here, obviously with probably that little file probably helped, but I only ended up putting one shim on the top. Why it makes any difference, I don't know. Still touching. Yeah, not quite sure, it's still touching there. It's clipping. It's right there. Right, hopefully I got it this time. So I've shaved a little bit more off the door. I've run the file across it a couple of times. Like I wouldn't be taking much, but just I took a little bit more off it. How I only put one spacer on the top, and I put two down there. You play around with it, and when I put the extra one back up on the top, it was putting pressure back on here. It was clipping in. Up on here, it was tapping down the bottom. So obviously the door was too low. So I put the extra one in back down the bottom. So it's got now got 3 in the bottom. And I shimmed this out actually with some plastic. I'll show you. This stuff here. It's like a thin corrugated-y, well not corrugated-y, but it's got like a texture in it. It's this stuff here. Oh, this stuff here. I just put a couple of layers of that in it instead of pissing around with panel steel, because I didn't need that much to come out, but needed a bit. So let's see how much clearance we got and see if we reckon we've got enough. Right. So gap looks reasonable. It's reasonably even, top and bottom is about as even as it's going to get. The gap's over here, okay. I think where we were having problems before, it's close, but I think it's got enough gap there as it comes around. I think it's enough. See if I can hold you in there nice and close. Well, hopefully not too close, but you know what I mean. Close enough that you can see. I think we're good now. So finally, got all the doors 100% where I'm happy. I'll double check them all. But that was the one that I didn't really do much with. I sort of got, after I had refitted the body and got everything fitting again, and then I had another play. That was the one I didn't really come back to. Because I knew I sort of had to play with it, but I just sort of, we just kept going because it just, you know, we're taking doors off and on and pissing around with it. So yeah, I think I'm happy now. You know, like I'm not 100% happy with the height of this, but oh, yeah, I'm sick of fighting with it, to be honest. Shut that up. So I'm about to head home. Didn't get done what I wanted to do today, but I've got something that was important done. Yeah, there's not much I can do about that, unfortunately. There's not much I can do about that. But at least the door fits better. It's not perfect, but the car's, you know, wooden body, squeaks and twists and whatever, you know. Probably by the time I drove it down the road frickin' 10 times, everything would have moved anyway. So it's reasonable. It's probably as good as if it was at factory, if not better. So yeah, we've got to stop somewhere. It's, you know, it's all within reason, you know. Oh, I've got the catch off that one. That's why it's not there. But yeah, I think the gap's better on that one now than this one, front to back. You know, but oh God, what do you do? How much do you keep chasing this stuff? Drives you crazy. Wooden cars. Anyway, we'll catch you later tomorrow. And this should be fixed. Got to keep Mrs. happy. Hey guys, if you need welding gas, go see the boys at Cool Gas. If you're in New Zealand, yep, go see these guys. They'll look after you. Cool Gas, New Zealand.